All right, hello everybody. We are Lehigh University PA100 Index. I'm David,
I'm Will.
and Ashuntosh worked with us on this project, and we had the incredible honor and opportunity to work with Alex from SIBO Global Markets, who was an incredible person to guide us through all the bumps that we had going through this project. So a little bit about the project. The project was started in 2021 by master's students, and what it is an index of the top 100 publicly traded companies in Pennsylvania. The goal of the project was to get a better understanding of the economic landscape and performance of Pennsylvania as a whole. So our role in this project wasn't to recreate the project from scratch, but to optimize it. And what we did was refine the index methodology. So looking at the steps that it took to rebalance the index and how can we make this easier and more automated for future groups moving forward. So, and just setting the stage for future steps in the process and for future projects as well. So our project objective and why we joined the project was to get a better understanding of indexes and their importance in the financial markets. So indexes are essential in the financial markets because they're just trying to capture the performance of stocks over a series of time, and understanding how to create, construct, and rebalance, and understanding the methodology that goes into that is super important to understanding what is going on in the financial markets. So a lot of what we did was learn how to rebalance it, and then after that, taking the data that we got from rebalancing it and analyzing the reconstitution results. So looking at what companies came in, what companies went out, and looking at the sector trends that happened over the time frame. So what is an index? An index tracks the performance of a group of securities over a period of time. So what I learned about an index is that it's not a publicly traded tool, but it's something that is foundational for a lot of the tools in the market. So a lot of these ETFs are built on indexes, and a lot of the ones that we see are, the S&P 500, the Dow Jones. Some of those are the ones that we see every day that are foundational to the financial markets.
So as it was said, a big portion of it was redoing the project and trying to get a broader view on how we can improve it for future groups so they can come and take over and just keep going along with the project and not have to go back and backtrack. So what we did is we start off by collecting a range of tickers from Bloomberg, and this is sorted in a list that has the sector, market caps, weights, etc. And we also have the state on there, which is what we then use to filter for the top 100 PA companies by market cap. And from there, we then brought that data into our new freshened database. And we also used SIBO, which was given to us through our sponsor, Alex. And we were able to use that data and build out an automated tool to pull in this data, store it, and have a long historical backlog for future groups to come in and use. That was one thing that we added, as the backlog that they had previously wasn't all that rigorous. And now that's something that when we're gone, whoever's up next can use the same data that we had. And going to the market cap, what we did is we used that new data that we could pull in every day, multiply it by the shares outstanding, and that's how we get our total market cap. From there, we calculate an index value, and we also store that as well, so future groups can have a historical set of index values going all the way back to 2023 in November. From there, we used GitHub and cron jobs to recursively update this function. How we changed it from the previous group, as the previous group had about 10 days, we updated this to 30. So if there is any issues with the cron job, it has 30 days to be edited, re-edited, etc. And that way we don't lose any data, as if you don't have historical data for one day, it really screws with the index, as you don't want to have big jumps or skews. You want to have it as accurate as possible. From there, we also automated quarterly reports on index analytics and performance. We are doing the same thing where we're implementing a GitHub cron job, and this way we could have it run, say, every month, every 3 months, semi-annually or annually. And we'll see some of those new analytics on the future slides. And lastly, we host it live on the PA100 server, And that's on our website, which you could search. If you type in PA100, it'll pop up right there at the top. Now, David had said, we went through a big portion of it was rebalancing the index. So what we did is as we said, we take the 100 biggest companies, we take the weighted shares, and we calculate something called a divisor. Now, this allows us to rebalance without having big shifts where you say the index goes from 120 to 124 in a single day. That wouldn't be ideal for investors or anybody else. So we use a divisor with the function here. And now we're getting into some of the performance metrics. So what we have here is we added some new metrics of a rolling correlation with the SPY and a drawdown. And what's nice about this is, once again, all of this is stored on our GitHub going all the way back to late November in 2023. Now, one thing you may see is the performance of the S&P versus the PA100. While we do have a pretty strong correlation, one big thing that's been holding us back is the weightings with the S&P and how big tech has influenced returns. Most of in Pennsylvania, you don't have too many tech companies, as you can see in our market weights. So that's kind of what's been holding us back a little bit. But we also have our updated index value chart in the top right, and that comes straight from our website. Now, for future tasks and end goals, one thing that we're looking to do is either create a leverage index of some sort, and that's most likely where we're going to be redirecting this, along with sector indexes of potential sector specific. So AI is the big talk the past 2 years, maybe focusing on an AI Pennsylvania index if there is a large enough sample of companies. Another thing we'd like to do is improve more the data visualization. Previously, we only had really a line graph and a bar chart. And now, as you saw with rolling volatility and some of the other metrics, we're trying to improve that, host that on the website, and make it a little more interactive for whoever visits. And lastly, kind of I touched on in the last point, is to improve the web page and the display and interactivity. With being able to interact with reports, visuals, it's a little bit easier than just trying to read through words or just look at plain numbers and have to read it. Being able to interact, press into it, read the reports, download the reports is where we're trying to transition the project now as we finally rebalanced and settled in.
So an overview of what we did, we didn't reconstruct the entire index, but we refined it, the methodology. So moving forward, it's a lot more automated for future groups. We defined how it worked to document it for the website. And what we achieved, we updated the daily indexes to sector weights and got a lot of analytics and different reports for the project. What's next? And JR kind of just touched on what's next for the project. For this project and this semester, we set the stage for future projects, which we're excited to get started on with Alex. Questions?
A quick question. How is the data being used? You know, where is it being accessed? You know, is it, because I believe this was funded by the state level at some point.
Yes, so as of now, we're using SIBO data for both the prices and market caps. So that data is being stored on our GitHub repository, and we built out a new folder structure to store historical end-of-day prices and historical index values, along with the volatility and standard deviation metrics, which can just be derived from those. But that's all being stored in our GitHub.
Yeah, but who's using the data? You know, outside of Lehigh, is there anyone actually who's accessing this and using it in reports and
The pure
valuations?
the pure price data, no, because it's private in our repository. But if somebody would like to, they could go to the website and download the index values.
Okay, thank you.
Can you hear me? Has there been any thought about trying to do something with private companies? I know inherently there's not a lot of public data on private companies, but I think that's actually something that would be, you know, pretty valuable if there's, you know, any way you could do that. You know, that's data that doesn't exist so readily. Has there been any thought about that?
I would say probably the difficult is, like you said, the difficulty is getting that data and also making sure it's accurate, up to date, and having it track the index. You would need either daily or weekly data in that sense. So somebody would have to be updating that constantly.